When the Ever Given ran aground and blocked the Suez Canal for a week back in March, it halted roughly 15% of global trade in the process. It was the culmination of a perfect storm for global supply chains. The ship finally made it into port in Felixstowe yesterday, to the relief of businesses whose precious cargo had been trapped for 4 months. Well, the Ever Given saga has highlighted our reliance on global supply chains for just about everything, and also exposed the weaknesses in seaborne transport. Here's our business correspondent, Thea Leggett.
4 months late and still bearing the scars of her encounter with the sandy banks of the Suez Canal, the Ever Given finally limped into Felixstowe, her last port of call. This giant of the seas became stranded while negotiating one of the narrowest parts of the canal. She was stuck fast and the waterway was blocked for 6 days. Hundreds of ships were unable to pass through, causing havoc in a global container industry that was already under intense pressure due to the COVID outbreak. The saga of the Ever Given itself may now be over, but what this affair has shown is just how much impact a single event involving one giant vessel can have on the entire global supply chain, and just how vulnerable the systems we rely on for imports every day really are. And those supply chains are still under strain, thanks to other factors such as COVID outbreaks in key Chinese ports and severe weather. It means freight rates are continuing to soar.
And this has won awards for us all over the world.
Gavin Ucko runs the Happy Puzzle Company, which imports toys and games from China to be sold in Britain. He's ordering supplies for the busy Christmas period, but he says the costs are becoming insurmountable.
Prior to this year, we'd never paid more than £2,700 for a 40-foot container coming to us from China. This morning I was quoted over £15,000 for a similar container. Prices have gone through the roof and it is becoming unworkable.
And it isn't just prices that are the problem. Some traders are simply struggling to find space on vessels coming from East Asia at any price, such as the level of demand.
If you manage to get a container loaded at the suppliers and you book it on a vessel sailing next week, the line may not load it on that vessel, and they may not load it on the next vessel and the next vessel after that. So in other words, your container is stuck in Shanghai port for 3 additional weeks before it's actually shipped on the vessel.
Some businesses are happy. With space on their services so scarce and cargo rates so high, the shipping lines themselves are making record profits, although they argue that this is simply compensation for the many lean years they've suffered in the past. But they're the only happy ones. For importers, retailers and consumers in Europe and North America, as well as suppliers in East Asia, this is a crisis they could certainly do without. And the Ever Given remains a potent symbol of a troubled year they'd like to forget. Thea Leggett, BBC News.